You know, my grandfather opened Doyle's Tavern in 1921. Prohibition. Imagine that, would you? An Irishman, straight off the boat from County Cork, opening a bar in Dorchester when beer was against the law. That's the family I come from, son. That's the blood in these veins. So when you ask me what happened that night, I'll tell you, straight up, no chaser, the whole truth. From a man who's 90 years old, got a wife waiting on him, and nothing left to hide. My name is Albert Francis Doyle, 90 years old last March. 90? Can you believe that? My own mother didn't make it past 62. My brothers, Michael and Sean, both gone by 70. And here I am, still kicking. I've been in this place for 13 years now, Plymouth Correctional. 13 years for something that happened in my own bar, in my own neighborhood, one Thursday night in October. These hands poured drinks for 54 years. 50 four. You know how many stories I heard over that bar? How many fellas crying about their wives, their bosses, their bad luck? I was half priest, half bartender. That's what we did at Doyle's. And we had a code, in my bar. My grandfather's code, my father's code, my code. You take care of your own. You protect your own. That's the rule. That's always been the rule. People forget that about the old neighborhood. They forget we had rules. I met Mary Kathleen Sullivan at a dance at St. Brigid's Parish Hall in 1957. Mary Kathleen. She was wearing a green dress, emerald green, and her hair, red. Not orange, mind you. Red like a penny, fresh off the mint. And when she laughed, every fella in that hall turned to look, including me. I walked across that floor and I asked her to dance, and she said, "I'll never forget this." She said, "I was wondering when you'd get around to it, Albert Doyle." She knew my name before I ever said a word. I found out later she'd asked her cousin about me. 68 years we've been married, 68. 2 kids, Patrick and Colleen. 4 grandkids, 1 great-grandbaby on the way when they took me in. Mary visited me every Sunday for the first 10 years I was here. Every single Sunday. Rain, snow, hurricane. Didn't matter. She'd take the bus, 2 transfers, 3 hours each way, just to sit with me in that room for 45 minutes. She's 86 now, can't make the trip anymore. Her hip. That's my Mary. 68 years, now, the man, the fellow who died in my bar. I didn't really know him. He come in sometimes, sat at the bar, drank his drink, left a tip, went home. You get 1,000 fellas like that in 54 years. I couldn't tell you his favorite song. Couldn't tell you if he had a family. I served him. He paid. That was the transaction. That was the relationship. That's the truth. Now I'm going to tell you what happened that night. October 14th, 2012. I've told this story before. To the cops, to the lawyers, to the jury. Same story every time. Because the truth don't change, does it? So here it is, from me to you. No script, no lawyer, just an old fella telling you what he remembers. It was a Thursday night, October 14th. I closed the bar early that night. Round 9 o'clock. Now, some of the fellas have asked why I closed early on a Thursday. Thursdays was a decent night usually. Not Friday, not Saturday, but decent. The truth is I was tired. 90, well, 77 I was then. 77 years old, on my feet behind that bar since 11 in the morning. My back was killing me. The cook, Donnie, he'd called out sick. And Mary had called me round 8, asking when I'd be home. Sometimes a man just wants to go home to his wife, you understand. So I started closing up, turned down the lights, started wiping down the bar. And then he come in, walked right through the front door at 9:05, 9:10. I hadn't locked it yet. Said he'd been walking home from his shift at the MBTA yard, wicked tired. Just wanted 1 drink before bed. 1 Bushmills, neat, the way he always. The way he'd ordered it the handful of times I'd seen him. I told him, "Fella, we're closed." He said, "Come on, Albert, 1 drink. I've had a day." I shouldn't have. I should have said no. Locked that doa behind me and gone home to Mary. But I didn't. Because I'm an Irishman running an Irish bar, and an Irishman who turns down a fella looking for 1 last drink. That ain't how my grandfather raised me. So I poured him the Bushmills. Neat. And I poured myself one too, 'cause why not? My back hurt. My Mary was waiting. One drink with a stranger on a Thursday night wasn't gonna kill me. That's when it went bad. He'd been drinking before he come in. I could smell it. And the second drink in my bar was too many. He started talking loud. Talking about his life, his problems, talking about women. You know the type. I told him, "All right, fella, finish up. Time to go home." He didn't want to go home. He stood up, knocked the stool backwards, started coming around the bar. Wasn't the first time a drunk fella come at me in 54 years, and I've always handled it the same way. Calm voice, hands up. "Let's go, pal. Out the door, sleep it off." But this fella, he didn't stop. He come around that bar at me and he put his hands on me, and he was a younger man, 52 years old, stronger than me, and I went backwards into the shelf where the liquor bottles was, and I felt the back of my head hit the wood, and there was a piece of pipe back there, a piece of iron pipe. I used it to crack open the old kegs when the tap seals rusted. Been back there for years. I grabbed it. I hit him once, hard, in the side of the head. He went down, and he didn't get back up. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened, in my own bar, on a Thursday night in October. Because a drunk fella I barely knew wouldn't go home when I asked him to. People ask me if I'm sorry, and I tell them the truth. I'm sorry a man died in my bar. I'm sorry his mother lost a son. I'm sorry I was the one holding the pipe. But when I found him, on the floor, when I found him laying there, I knew my life was over. 54 years behind that bar, grandfather's legacy, father's legacy. My boy Patrick, he was supposed to take it over, was gonna be the fourth generation. Gone, all of it, over one drunk fella on a Thursday night. I called the police myself, right away, phoned in the bar, told him, "There's been an accident in my tavern. A man is down." They come fast, sirens, lights, whole neighborhood woke up. The detective, good fella, local boy, knew my bar. He asked me what happened. I told him, self-defense. Fella come at me, I grabbed what was there, I swung once. He believed me. The regulars at the bar the next morning, Mickey, Sully, Jack O'Brien, they all told the cops, "Albert wouldn't hurt a fly, that man must have started it." The old neighborhood, 54 years of friendships. They stood up for me. The only thing that went against me, and this is the irony of it, was the camera. I had a security camera over the bar, had it since 2005. Good little thing, recorded everything, except that night. That night the camera was out, busted. I'd been meaning to get Donnie's nephew to come fix it, but Donnie was sick and the nephew was busy, and you know how those things go. You figure you'll get to it next week, and then next week is the week everything falls apart. If that camera had been working, I'd be home with Mary right now. 'Cause it would have showed exactly what I'm telling you. Him coming around that bar, his hands on me, me grabbing that pipe. But no, the one night in 7 years that camera had never missed a single hour. Bad luck, I call it. The prosecutor called it something else, but I know what it was. Bad luck and an old man with a tired back. People, young people especially, they don't understand the old neighborhood anymore. They look at me and they see a violent old man, a bartender who killed a customer. They don't understand what Doyle's was, what it meant. It wasn't a business, it was a family. 4 generations of families came through those doors. Weddings, wakes, first communions, breakups, promotions, funerals. Every big thing in the neighborhood, before and after, people come to Doyle's. And Mary and me, we was at the center of it. Mary behind the bar on busy nights. Me checking every face that walked in, making sure everyone was all right. That was my job. That was my calling. Protect the regulars. Protect the neighborhood. Protect Mary. Because in my bar, in Doyle's, you take care of your own. That's the rule. That's always been the rule. I just want to go home to Mary. That's all, before one of us goes to God.